What do you think of play-to-earn blockchain games?
It is dumb, and I will tell you why. If it's a fun game, everyone's going to play it. Therefore, you're not earning as much. If you are earning a lot off a game, it's not going to be very fun, and it's now just work. It's a job where you're either not paid much, or you're paid a lot and you hate it.
So it's about rarity. If everyone's playing it, then the resources generated are going to be abundant and not necessarily have much value. But if no one's playing it, then the resources you generate will be rare, but also there'll be no one to buy them off you.
YouTube is a perfect example, right? Let's say, so I'm a scam tuber, right? I create content about scams. Let's say it makes lots of money. It's fun. And because it's fun, more people are going to jump in and do it. Well, the ad revenue is now being split between the 25,000 of us that are now doing it. It's fun, but I'm not making any money off it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go and make content in an area that is boring, about like financial stuff. It's boring, but not many people want to do it because it's boring. So it makes a lot of money.
So
it's going to fall into that, 100%.
I completely agree. When someone says play to earn, I say, do you mean work? And they go, no, play to earn. You play the game and you earn money. And I go, okay, is the game fun? Because if the game's fun, you won't necessarily play it to earn money. You'll play it for the enjoyment. If the game's not fun and you're playing it for the money, that is work. What I've seen recently, and this does have a point, there's actually an MMO game that's going this way. I have seen, especially with the rise of crypto and NFTs, the financialization of everything. There seems to be this very tech bro, very hustle culture idea that if you aren't financially benefiting from doing something, then doing it is pointless or silly or stupid and you should stop. So people want to play games, but people want to monetize games. So playing games is no longer done for the joy of the game. It's now done for the kind of late stage capitalism idea that this must benefit me in some way. What do you see the financialization of games ultimately leading to, Callum?
Them not being games anymore. It will just be work with a reskin to make it look like you're playing a game. Genuinely, that's what it's going to become. Look at it like this. RuneScape doesn't allow real world trading, right? Imagine if they did. Twisted bows are worth 1 billion because they're rare and because not many people can do the content because it's hard. Now, everyone's going to jump into the game, learn that content, and farm the ever-living shit out of Twisted Bows. The value will go down because there are so many of them now.
I mean, we've already seen RuneScape become a stable job for several people in Venezuela. There's the whole Venezuelan economy being propped up by RuneScape Gold, and that's not me, taking the piss. If you guys actually Google this, there are a lot of people in countries that, right now, you can earn more money farming green dragons in RuneScape and then selling that gold that you gain from killing the green dragons to a third-party gold-selling site than you can from several low-paying jobs in certain countries. Someone actually said that the Russian ruble has crashed so much that instead of having a minimum wage paying job, you can now just play RuneScape for like 10 hours a day and you'd make more money. The RuneScape Gold is actually a more stable cryptocurrency than some actual cryptocurrencies.
I'm actually going to do a little bit of maths here that will probably scare people.
And the reason I bring this up specifically while Cal is sorting out his maths is there's an article on Massively OP that says Bless Unleashed on PC, remember Bless Unleashed, that next big, the WoW killer, is becoming a blockchain play-to-earn MMO RPG. So Bless Unleashed wasn't really doing that well, and now it's going to be added onto the blockchain. It's going to become a play-to-earn MMORPG. Who's still playing Bless Unleashed? Anyone in the chat still grinding away? I'm guessing not. Cal, how's the maths gone?
I've got it. So, the minimum wage in Venezuela, which is what pretty much everyone is on, is 12 million. I don't even know what their currency is. Venezuelan rubles or something. God knows.
12 million. Okay, let's talk
12 million.
That's a lot of inflation. That's 12 and 6 zeros. Right.
Yeah. So
Bolivar,
that's their monthly.
Bolivar.
Yeah. That's their monthly minimum wage, which pretty much everyone is on.
Okay.
Now, that is 22 British pounds.
A month.
A month. Now,
that's about 30 American dollars, isn't it?
Yeah, let's say I jump on and buy 2 bonds. I think bonds are still like $9.99 each. Might be, okay, 4 bonds because they're about £5, I think.
Yeah, they're about £5.
I can buy 4 bonds every month, no problem. Doesn't affect my financial situation.
Yeah.
But the people who are, let me get this right, the people who are selling the gold for other people to buy that bond, that's their monthly wage.
Yeah.
So they need to make about 18 mil gold in RuneScape a month for a full-time job. And that is a full-time job.
Yeah, and you can make 18 million a month in RuneScape if you have high stats.
You do it in a day.
In a day.
So they're becoming literal millionaires in Venezuela. They're getting paid more for playing RuneScape than people are for being like CEOs of banks.
And
that's no exaggeration.
This is exactly why scamming is also so popular, because if you look at the risk to reward, you will make more money scamming someone out of 100 million gold than you will trying to earn 100 million gold legitimately, when you just give the time and the breakdown and the chances of it. That's why you've got so many bots that can do Vorkath, or bots that can do Zulrah, bots that can farm gold. It was the same thing with the gold farming, mostly out of China, in World of Warcraft, wasn't it?
In fact, Vorkath's a brilliant example. Vorkath's gold per hour is about 4 million gold per hour. That's about £3 once they've sold the gold off, right?
Yeah.
£3 compared to the £22 a month they get paid, they can make their monthly pay in about 8 hours. Yeah. Easily.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this is one of the reasons why you can't legalize real world trading, because the moment you do, it becomes a viable income source for so many people in so many countries that the government of that country would have to step in and start to legalize it and work it all out, because how do you declare the taxes on that?
Yeah, and I mean, this is why Axie Infinity got so popular. So because it's done with like crypto wallets, they don't have data on anyone, right? But they're estimating that around 65% of their players, based on IP and stuff, are from Venezuela. Because although you can make about $30 to $80 a month playing it, that's a lot for a Venezuelan.
It is. People in the chat are saying, why not legalize it if everyone's doing it? Because as soon as you legalize it, you then have to take on a massive amount of extra corporate responsibility to do it. As soon as you say, right, all of this has actual value, you can trade it around.
It becomes a security, doesn't it?
It becomes a security, and if it has value, and kids are buying treasure hunter keys or random chance keys and then pulling stuff from a treasure hunter box that has value, is that gambling?
It absolutely is at that point.
It's one of the main reasons that Magic the Gathering are not, Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are not able in any way to actually acknowledge the second-hand market. Because the moment Magic the Gathering or Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast acknowledge that different Magic cards have different monetary values, then opening a pack becomes gambling, not purchasing collectible cards. Now, people will say, yeah, but you can buy, rare, expensive secret lair packs. You can buy these super expensive, limited edition packs. Yeah, but that's still not gambling, because
that's the price of 5 cards. For any card, they're all valued the same in their mind.
You know exactly what you're going to get with that. Someone goes, yeah, well, why don't they just sell 15 rare land cards for £100? Well, they did. They had the From the Vault Realms collection, but all of those cards had different artwork, or they were foiled when they shouldn't have been, or they had different artists on them and stuff, and that means that it wasn't gambling. You were buying a collector's item, and that's what it's about. It's collector's items, not necessarily value of the cards. It's a very, very legal grey zone, which is why Jagex absolutely cannot actually acknowledge the value, the monetary value, of any single given item.
There's another reason they wouldn't want to. Think about it like this. Let's say they add a new item, and it's the new best in slot, and it's trading for 1 bill, like 1 billion gold. That's like about £1,000, for example. If they acknowledge the real world value of that gold, and then they nerf the item a bit, to bring it back in line with the rest of the stuff. They've just cost people, in their minds, £200 when the item value crashes. They have actively, like, sandbagged someone's investment. And that's when it becomes an absolute hazard that you just don't want to deal with.
If you're a shareholder in a company, then one of that company's legal responsibilities to you is to make choices that increase the value of the shares you own. One of a company's guiding principles, especially in the UK, is the decisions the company directors and the company take must be beneficial for the shareholders. Now, not necessarily immediately, but they must be able to show a long-term benefit for why that decision is being made. If you own shares in Jagex and you buy an item in-game for £1,000 and then the next day the item gets nerfed and the value drops to 50 million, have you as a shareholder lost value? Well, yeah, it's an in-game item that has an actual thing connected to it, and an update that RuneScape has put out has caused you to lose value in your account and the money that you own.
Yeah.
Could you then take that to a court? Could you then take that to the ombudsman and say this company has made a decision that should cost me money as a shareholder? The thing is, the law isn't about who is black and white, right and wrong. It's about who can justify their position the best. And the more subtle you make the positions, the easier it is to justify stuff.
Yeah.
It's a complex thing. People have said, wouldn't that kill NFT games? Axie Infinity, you brought that up. Axie Infinity was the kind of NFT style game where you could own Axies and then you could rent them out to people who would play the game and earn value, and then you as like a landlord would almost take some of the value, wouldn't he?
It's basically contracting work.
Yeah. Which again, that's the play to earn game. And didn't they lose a load of money recently? Didn't they lose like 100?
Lost all their money.
Oh, all of it. Right, that's a couple of 100 million, wasn't it?
$600 million. The entire wallet got emptied because of a vulnerability in the blockchain where... So, you know, it's kind of like a council thing where everyone has to agree on a transaction, or a majority does.
Yes.
They only needed 5 out of 7 votes to make a transaction go through. So somebody put in a false transaction to the liquidity pool, which is their whole savings.
Okay.
And they had enough bots on the network that essentially the stars aligned and they got all the votes passed out to them at like non-peak time, and they just passed the transaction through.
So hang on, they used bots to right. It's decentralized, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're giving people you're giving the community the power to make decisions, and as long as the majority of the community agree, the decision goes through. But that means it's possible to brute force the amount of people in the community who are on your side.
Because you are them.
Wow. That's... Someone said, how does that work? Isn't that against the law? Well, no, because in crypto and NFTs, the whole thing is code is law. The blockchain doesn't have any moral compass. All the blockchain does is record stuff that happens. And
their only real law is 5 out of 7 clients that were picked need to agree on this transaction, and they did.
The guy that owns Axie Infinity has effectively just lost $600 million, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Now, that's not necessarily all his. That was value that was in the company and the game, but he was still effectively responsible for $600 million.
That's the issue. So a liquidity pool is a pool that the blockchain can pull from at any time. So if you cash out of Axie, it comes out of the liquidity pool. So people couldn't cash out because there was nothing to cash out from.
When is this financialization, this monetization of hobbies going to stop?
When people try to monetize their hobby and realize how shit that is. It's that simple, because it stops being a hobby and becomes a job. It really does. Like YouTube, again, a perfect example. If you upload videos for fun, now, I was never really in that camp because it took off so quickly, but you'll probably be able to vouch for this. You upload videos whenever you want, on whatever you want, and it's fun. And then when money starts coming in, you realize, okay, this is what makes money doing this. I'm going to have to follow that as long as I still find it somewhat enjoyable.
I am terrible at following analytics. So
and me.
I've made a lot of videos on a lot of MMOs, a lot of blockchain, a lot of cryptocurrency, a lot of old games and stuff. And when I make a video, people have sat me down and they've said, Josh, you need to read your analytics. You need to look at Google Trends. You need to read your audience. You need to look at which thumbnails are working. You need to change your titles to improve stuff. And I know that I need to do all these things, and I don't do any of them.
No.
Like, I make a video about a game that I'm interested in. I make one thumbnail, one title, put it up, premiere it, then forget about it, and then go make another one. I am really bad at that kind of stuff.
I have to say, I'm in the same boat with that. I make videos on what I want to. I don't stress too much about the thumbnails, and a lot of people will change the thumbnails over the next couple of days and see if any one picks up more traction than the other. I don't. As long as the video does well enough, I'm happy.
Yeah, I know that I'm leaving a lot of potential on the table. I know that I am, because when we were at Insomnia, the amount of companies that came over to me and said, hey, could we sponsor you? You know, we'll put our logo on the thing and we'll give you a lot of money for it. And I said, okay, what do you do? And they're like, oh, we do this. And I said, I don't use those. I'm sorry, but I can't take a sponsorship from a company that I don't necessarily use myself. I would feel wrong doing it. So I know that I suck when it comes to optimization of content. But at the same time, I don't want that stress of trying to optimize. I don't want to feel like I'm beating the algorithm. I just want to make content people like.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is why a lot of YouTubers get burnt out. Because they start off doing what's fun. They tailor it to the algorithm and realize, oh, I'm getting a lot of money now. This is fun. But when you keep doing it, it just becomes work. And then you're like, okay, I want to go back to doing something a bit more fun. I'm going to do this crazy video that's a bit different. And then you feel bad because it's not paying your bills anymore.
Yeah, it's
that simple.
Have you ever felt guilty for playing a game in your free time and not making content out of it?
Oh my God. Do you know what? I was thinking about this yesterday. Whenever I play a game, I'm like, oh, this would be good YouTube content. And then I have to keep saying, no, Callum, this is fun you time. This is mess about and have fun, not work time.
For anyone on the chat right now, this is a really weird thing. And I know it's as first world problem as you can possibly go. You know, we're not complaining. We're just explaining the mental thought process to you. When I was sat downstairs playing Elden Ring, part of me thought, I really should be playing this on the PC. I should be recording it. I should be taking notes. I should be writing. And then when I realized that, no, I'm enjoying this. I'm playing this. I'm having fun. It's really strange that when you bring in the financialization of anything, when you aren't making money off it, doing it feels like you're missing out. Feels like a waste. And I'm super scared that this financialization of games, this monetization of play, is going to start seeping into the way that, you know, kids and young people see games. And it will get to a point now where, because young people are super easy to, you know, influence in any possible way. They pay attention to adverts all the time. You tell a kid now that not only can they play a game, they can earn money while playing the game. 10 years from now, are they going to play a game where they don't earn money?
The more I think about that, actually, my opinion on that may change because we already have that now. We just don't realize it. Let's take RuneScape again as another example. Gold sellers, right? There's a portion of the players that are playing it to play it, to have fun. And there is a portion of players that are playing it purely to make money. They don't find any enjoyment in the game. But they are feeding in to the players that want to play it for enjoyment and don't mind dropping a few dollars every day or month. So I guess we already have that. I think they're just going about advertising it wrong because they are only advertising it to the players that want to earn, that want to work, but without the players that want to play it for fun and spend money. Because it has to be a cycle, right? This money doesn't come from nowhere.
Yeah, you've got to have people buying.
Let's say you're a player that wants to play this new game for fun, and I'm a player that wants to play it for money. We both have to exist for each of us to benefit from it, right? That's what it's going to be, but they're advertising it solely to the people that will make money, but they can't make money unless somebody's spending it. And if they're there to make money, they're not going to be the ones spending it.
I watched a video on, I think most people have watched it, it's got so many views, the process behind Roblox creation. I get messages every single day asking me to play either Minecraft MMORPGs or Roblox MMORPGs, and the reason I avoid them both is the moment I put that content up on the channel, not only will my advertising demographics switch heavily, I will never ever stop being bombarded with messages of, oh, I see you play Roblox games, play my game. I see you play Minecraft mods, play my Minecraft mod. I'm scared to open that floodgate. But Roblox and Minecraft content creation, making stuff in the game, seems to follow a very similar predatory style as the gaming industry in general. It's full of passionate people, and their passion is taken advantage of.
Yes. There was a big scandal around this with Roblox. You've probably seen the video where they were actually asked to take the video down because they'd exposed this whole ring of just milking developers for money that was going to random people that just don't work. You know, they just lounge around the house and direct people. And then when they've got one big mod under their belt, well, they can just get another and another, and they don't do anything. They just underpay actual developers. I think there was an artist. Now, Roblox art isn't the best, but you still have to put the effort in and know the art skills, right? Yeah. There was an artist that was being paid something like 22 pence an hour to, like, a 13-year-old kid being paid 22 pence an hour to work full time.
It's disgusting, isn't it? I mean,
it is.
It's the same as, you know, we'll pay you an exposure. Oh, you want to work for us because then you'll be seen as big in the industry. You'll be seen as important and stuff like that. Gaming is a passion-driven industry. And unfortunately, a lot of kids want to get into the gaming industry, and so they will let the industry take advantage of them, and they will do what they are told is good. I fear that we're going to get to a point now, or we're starting to push toward a point where the passion of gaming, of YouTubing, of Twitch streaming becomes so efficiency-based. You know when you play an MMORPG and you enjoy it because you don't know much about it and you just make bad decisions and you play how you want, and then you learn the meta and you learn the best rotation, the best items, the best this, the best that. Do you think we're starting to get to the meta of our lives based on financial benefits to it? Are we playing games to a boring, emotionally vapid meta because it brings in the most money?
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I think you've hit it spot on there.
Are we min-maxing life?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. If you're not saving time, then the thing you're doing has to be making money, right? Like, that's kind of what we've got to now with gaming.
Red Sky in the chat has just put, the former JMod Matt K says, people are starting to look at the science of game making as opposed to the passion and the art.
And that's
of
clear.
Game making.
That is, like, abundantly clear. In fact, Matt K is an amazing person to hang out in his stream. We raid him quite often. He's a super nice guy.
He's funny on Twitter as well. He's really funny on Twitter.
He is. He's a bit of a comedy genius, but like he's been in the gaming industry a long time, so he's watched this happen as well. Yeah. I said this in one of our devlogs. Game development, like, games are being built backwards, right? RuneScape, another good example. They made a game that was fun, passionate, between three brothers. They just wanted to make something that they wanted to play. And guess what? Other people wanted to play it because it was something that was fun. The last thing they thought about was monetizing it. Like, there were times where they were at an absolute loss because they were buying servers that they couldn't afford, but they wanted to keep the game running. And now look how successful it's been. But then you've got other games where the first board meeting discussion they have at this game is, right, what's going to make us the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of effort?
There's an old saying, a camel is a horse designed by committee. And what this tends to mean is, if you have a large amount of people discussing on the best way to move forward with a project, all of them will put a small amount of things in, and eventually all of their ideas will be taken because they're all good individually, and then something will be created. I think when you have a committee or a board members team making something, it ends up feeling very corporate. Very corporate and very fake and very soulless. And you can see that, you can feel the difference. The last MMORPG that I can imagine was made by committee was New World.
And that is a prime example of a game just going south from the get-go.
I think New World was a load of people, a load of actual, big tech industry people, a lot of big business who sat down and went, right, what is the best way we can possibly make an MMORPG? And they created that. To put it into the whole passion thing, have you seen John Wick, the film? You know who made John Wick?
No.
A bunch of stuntmen. A bunch of stuntmen basically said, we want to make a film that pays homage to the job of the stuntman.
And they nailed that.
They did. They said, right, let's get stuntmen in. We're going to get a stuntman scriptwriter. We're going to get a stuntman director. We're going to get all the stuntmen involved, possibly. And we're going to find an actor who will actually learn how to do all of the stunts. And Keanu Reeves was straight there. John Wick is a film written by stuntmen, about the job of being a stuntman. And it's freaking brilliant. You can tell that was made out of pure love and passion and heart. And I was smiling all the way through John Wick. I thought, this is brilliant. This is pure passion.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. And you know what film that I didn't really care much about? Any of the new Star Wars films.
I have to agree. I watched them and I was like, they're okay as a thing to watch. Wouldn't watch them again. In fact, I haven't watched them again.
I didn't feel any love, any passion. I felt that it was very science and not very art, which was a shame.
Yeah. In fact, I can tell you what the boardroom meeting was that created that. Okay, we've got lots of IPs now. Which one's going to make a lot of money? Star Wars is really popular right now. Should we chuck out a Star Wars film?
Yeah.
They don't have to build a franchise. It's already there.
Yeah.
Let's just, like it's an exit strategy almost. Like, let's milk it while it's going.
Here's an example, and we will get onto the Twitter thing in a second because it's a big thing. But here's an example that I actually use whenever I'm teaching people about film or art or emotion in general. Have you seen the first Pirates of the Caribbean film?
I have, yes.
Have you seen the third Pirates of the Caribbean film?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, so third Pirates film, massive battle by a huge vortex in the sea. Ships all smashing around each other, special effects, absolutely amazing, cannonballs flying, splinters of wood. And I didn't really feel anything. Visually beautiful, emotionally vapid.
Yeah.
First film, there's a fight in the blacksmith's shop between Will Turner and Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
And there's not even that many actual blows exchanged with the swords. There's even a bit where they step and he goes...
Like round the pole.
Yeah, he says, if I step here, and the other one goes, I step here. And he goes, good, I see you know what you're doing. That was two characters interacting, and we got to know them, and we got to get involved with them. And that scene to me, that fight scene to me, is art.
Yeah.
Because it's not about...
One of the best fight scenes with the least amount of fighting in it. It was really good.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. In fact, if I watched a scene on YouTube yesterday, if you want to see what an absolutely brutal fight scene looks like, there's a film called, I think it's called Nobody.
Okay.
And there's a fight on a bus. I don't know if anyone in the chat here has...
It rings a bell.
Oh my God, that fight on a bus. That is how you do a fight scene. That is insane. I had to rewind and watch that scene again. I'm like, that is incredible. Very simple, very basic, but just super brutal. And then you get massive films like, The Avengers, that are beautiful, but I don't necessarily feel anything about them.
Yeah, in fact, I had this kind of revelation the other day when I was watching the Halo TV series. Now, a lot of people are criticising the CGI or criticising that X doesn't look like Y or Z was different in the books. But one thing I've got to give them props for is the character building and the interaction between characters. They've nailed.
Okay.
And the fact that I hadn't thought about it just shows how good it is. Because it doesn't feel weird, it doesn't feel off. Yeah, they've taken some artistic liberties with the interactions because it's a different medium, right? It's not a game, it's a film. So that really does make or break something like that. And you can tell that they went into this with the passion of making something that's going to be enjoyable to watch, a fun story to follow, and they've nailed both of that. So they really have. To
bring this all back to the idea of MMORPGs feeling more like science than art... Deadpool. You've seen the film Deadpool? You haven't seen Deadpool? Okay, brilliant film.
I did, but I was very drunk around a friend's house.
They basically gave the dude... In fact, no, it wasn't Deadpool. It was... I'm thinking of Joker. You've seen Joker.
Right.
They gave Joker less and less and less and less and less budget. They basically wanted to make the film fail. They didn't think that a Batman extended universe would work. So every time they asked for more money for the Joker film, they just said no. And they got less and less and less and less and less. And eventually they sat down, the directors and the actors, and they said, look, we don't have enough money to make this a spectacle. We don't have enough money to make this Joker film a traditional superhero film. So what we need to do is make it a character film. An emotion, character-driven film about your history and your feelings and small encounters like fighting 3 guys on a subway instead of fighting 300 guys on a spaceship. And Joker is one of the best films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because,
graphics will only do so much.
Yeah.
That goes for both films and games.
And I think that's because Joker is about art and less about spectacle.
Yeah.
Which MMORPG games now are putting art ahead of spectacle? Terra was a spectacle game, and it failed. Aeon is a spectacle game. They're just big, flashy, bright and brilliant. Which MMOs put art first?
New World.
No, I'd say that New World was more of a spectacle thingy, because it was just, hey, let's make it as big as we possibly can. New World isn't emotionally connected to me at all.
No. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like, it was beautiful, but it was so bland. The same goes for... God, what's it even called?
It's a good thing when you can't remember the name of it.
The space game, Star Citizen.
Okay.
Absolute spectacle graphically, right?
It's a
what
promise.
What gameplay is there? Yeah, but what is there looks beautiful, but there's no good gameplay.
Yeah.
At all.
So I think that the problem that a lot of MMORPGs are facing is they are being made by following the science and not necessarily following the passion of a small team of developers. Because when you look at the big successful MMORPGs, they had a relatively small team of developers work on them. Not many people worked on RuneScape. World of Warcraft had a team of 30
12,
people?
I think.
Yeah, it wasn't big, was it, at all? It wasn't big at all. It wasn't, hundreds of thousands of people.
No.
Elder Scrolls Online was probably the team with the biggest amount of people at the start, but I don't think they ever expected to be this big. I mean, Guild Wars 1 wasn't hundreds of people. It was a dedicated team. And now, when you get an MMORPG team together, you've instantly got to get hundreds of people, millions of funding, and you're focusing on what the science tells you to do, not what passion tells you to do. As much as I might think Mortal Online 1 and 2 made some mistakes, I can respect the fact that the developers of it went, this is what we're making. This is the game. Okay, cool. You're not aiming it at me, but I respect the fact you're making it.
And and in fact, there's further proof to back this up. Look at what's happened to RuneScape and WoW. The players got so sick of the kind of min-maxing of how much money can we get out with little effort put in, that they've gone back to the game that was beautiful in both graphics and story.
Yeah, classic.
They've got classic WoW, old school RuneScape, and they both look like shit. There's no denying that. They look awful, but they are incredibly fun.